Hi there. So I'm Katalina. I am a traveler, a writer, and an entrepreneur. Darren here has been kind enough to ask me to share some of my experiences from a big bike trip combined with a fundraiser project that I completed in 2012. It's called the Ride to Read. And I'm happy to be here and to contribute to this discussion about traveling via bicycle. For me, it was an extraordinary experience. A little bit about me as far as context. I have Polish roots. I was born in Poland. My family's Polish, and I grew up in Canada. Both countries I love dearly. And I've traveled to many places around the world. I currently live in Africa, which is an extraordinary experience. At times a trying one, it can be a bit frustrating, but in general, extraordinary. I live in Senegal, in the capital of Senegal, which is Dakar. I have a day job, which I really enjoy, as an insurance surveyor. I manage the Senegalese division of a French company here. And I also have many projects around entrepreneurship involving the beautiful artisanal and handicrafts here out of Africa, and also fashion and other luxury goods. So my life is a continued blessing. I'm so happy to be here and happy to share some of my experiences with you, especially geared towards the women here traveling, whether traveling in groups or traveling alone, and happy to share more with you about that. Coming back to the Ride to Read in 2012, it was a trip I did from Barcelona to Istanbul of a total of 4,300 kilometers, and I did this alone. I did this alone on the road, although I had a team supporting me in the behind the scenes and raising money for a charity. I decided to raise money for World Literacy Canada and through this ride for their literacy projects in around the world. So I had the experience, the good fortune of doing a fundraiser and also doing a solo bike trip across Europe in the summer of 2012. And I also wrote a book about it, which I will share the link with you here. Is it safe to travel as a woman alone? So firstly, in my experience, in my personal experience, it is. I have never had anything dangerous happen to me physically during a trip. And I've done a lot of traveling alone, not only on bicycle, but in general. The second thing, I think, which is really important the first thing actually to highlight is about doing research. I feel in travels, we're up against stereotypes or against the image of the media or our own education from our home countries. We're up against these stereotypes a lot of the time. So it's important to do research and not to overly generalize. So for the best example I can give is where I live right now, which is in Dakar, the capital of Senegal, which is in West Africa. There are countries in West Africa which are in a difficult situation, politically, economically. In Senegal, that's not the case. We have peace here. There is relative economic growth, and although it's an emerging country, there's also a lot of safety and peace here, and I feel very at home and very safe living in Dakar. So it's just one example currently to say, try not to overgeneralize. Do your research specifically on the region where you're going to travel to, and keep in mind that there may be places, hot spots in the world, which actually harbor very peaceful and safe and great places to be and to travel in. So the next question is about general advice for first-time bike travelers. So my experience with the 2012 trip across Europe showed me it's definitely really good to take it slow at the beginning. Because you're traveling for the first time on a bicycle, it takes some getting used to with the gear, with the unpacking, the repacking, getting idea of navigating your road if you're navigating yourself, and just just the whole interactions with people, getting food, getting Wi-Fi, all of these daily tasks take some getting used to. It's also a really good idea to take it slow at the beginning and to give yourself room for that learning, and also to give your body time to adjust. So because it was a fundraiser and I felt a lot of pressure with the Ride to Read to really do a lot of kilometers every single day and really go hard right from the beginning, my body went through a big stage of inflammation, and I was taking painkillers, and I usually try not to take any prescription medications, but I was just to survive, I was needing to take pills, and I was just physically in a really bad state for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the trip, actually. All because I had pushed myself so hard at the beginning. So the takeaway for that for me was take it slow, take it easy at the beginning, give your body time to adjust as well. Your legs, your whole body to the rhythm of biking so much. Most of us come from a sedentary or a mostly sedentary lifestyle. All of a sudden taking that and switching it to being in motion for the big part of the day, it takes some getting used to for your body. So that's my first piece of advice. And secondly, get a good rhythm going with your gear. I know Darren talks a lot about this too. Make sure there is a specific place for every item in your gear, in your bags, so that you always know where everything is, and packing and repacking and unpacking, which becomes this ritual, the continued ritual every single day, so that it becomes really routine and easy to do. So just make sure everything has its specific place in your bags and in your so your gear, you know exactly where your gear is and where to pack it at every moment. It really, really, really helps, I found. So those are my 2 big pieces of advice for first-time bike travelers.